families.
Question number 4. Grant Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he stand by his statement on tax policy to the House yesterday, quote, "The Minister of Finance, who I am acquainted with, has not made any commitment in regard to any elements of the budget package on 25 May. If so, why did he say on the 28th of April we are not planning to do a reduction on rates this year?"
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, in answer to the first part of the question, yes, I do stand by my statement. To the second part, because it was an accurate answer to a question.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Regardless of what is or is not in the budget, can he confirm that adjusting the tax brackets for inflation since the last tax changes in 2010 would see as tabled yesterday in Parliamentary Library figures, would see an $18 a week benefit to him and a $2.38 benefit a week to a person earning $48,000 a year?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I haven't seen the details of the document the member tabled yesterday, but I can confirm that the government has plans for its budget, and on the May 25th we'll find out what commitments it has made in response to those plans.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Has total spending on working for families decreased while his government has been in office?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, it's a very specific question, and if the member would like to put it down in writing, I'd be happy to answer it.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Are the Child Poverty Action Group correct that it would take $700 million per year, or $2.8 billion over the budget cycle, to restore the real value of working for families cuts made by his government?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, they're unlikely to be correct. I haven't checked their numbers. But again, the member needs to understand that the government took a number of decisions after it came into office to get rid of the decade of deficits that we inherited from the previous Labor Party, as reported independently by the New Zealand Treasury, which the member has added to his list of government sympathiser organisations that he doesn't listen to. And Mr Speaker, we did make a number of changes. We stand by those changes, and as a result we see the government books in surplus today, where in contrast our friends in Australia are dealing with a large deficit.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Can he confirm that actually what happened was that his government put in place a tax package where 40% of the benefits went to the top 10% of income earners, while he cut working for families earning $35,000?
That's exactly what happened.
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, just because the member has written some talking points doesn't make it true. And the reality is that those tax changes were distributionally neutral across the. Well, the member can go back and have a look at some of the actual documents that were produced at the time that showed the distribution effects of the tax changes that were broadly neutral across the spectrum.
Order. Supplementary question, David Seymour.
Can the Minister confirm that the top 10% of income taxpayers pay 37.7% of all income tax?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I can't confirm the exact number for the member, but that does resonate in terms of the percentages.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Has he considered entitling his budget speech taking credit for half solving the problems that we created, the Stephen Joyce story, given the infrastructure and social deficits that have grown on his watch, or will he just go for the simpler Stephen Joyce, the real Slim Shady?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm sure the National Government will at least go with the statement that we are actually committed to our party's policies, which is more than could be said for the opposition this week, who seem to have a, shall we say, a variegated view of what policies they have to adopt and they don't have to adopt. But, Mr Speaker, this government stands absolutely behind the decisions we have made, which have brought this country back into a fiscal surplus ahead of most other developed countries in the OECD. And Mr Robertson, if he wants to today, can raise the issue of whether we should be in surplus, but I think you just have to look across the Tasman, Mr Robertson, and know those decisions were the right decisions.
Question number 5, Marama Fox.
Tēnā koe te mana